We are on the Ring of Fire. Stmn versus Crow's Nest Esports. Really looking forward to this one. We've seen quite a bit of this map already. Which brawlers do you expect here?
On Ring of Fire, I want to see the Poco meta. Looks like he's already been banned out, so just not really worthy of that much discussion, but Pierce has always got to be something on your mind. Another main character of this map that I'm always keeping my attention fixated on is the aggressive duo. I think I just moved that into plural, but bear with me here. Ali and Mortis, both really important on diving those backlines. Now they've been banned out, I think that this is a pretty confident Pierce pick. Yeah, there we go. First selection there for Stmn.
I mean, it's a good one. Obviously, it's standard. You are ready for whatever. Right, you will win the mid lane. You could expect some anti-tanks in the mid, right? Because Frank is open, because Mina is open, so you need to be ready. Pierce will win the 1v1, but maybe they cannot protect himself if you force him to play shield gadget. So I would expect in the opposite side to play maybe a Lu. Okay, I'm the Mina, obviously, right? But they need something in the mid that can stand by himself now to be ready against Frank, to be ready against Pierce 1v1. Maybe Pam, we can see another Pam again. We can see maybe, yes, Poco Com is banned, so you cannot really go this Draco comes, at least you go with a Grey TP. So there is too many options actually right now.
Lou is actually also unfortunately banned out here. Pedro thinks would be a brawler I'm looking forward to. Very good on a map like Ring of Fire, just one of those brawlers that can stand strong in mid. Frank is the most picked brawler on this map so far, but he does not have a Poco behind him this time around. So let's see if they're actually gonna back him up with maybe a Guz, a Byron. He needs some support, I think. Pam could also be a good shout from you here, Pedro. And then on the other side, we now need something to address that Frank, because so far with Pierce, yes, you do a lot of damage, but maybe not quite enough to deal with Mina and that Frank.
Be overstepping really a little just to go with that aggression right off the bat. Mina is going to provide some positioning. Frank is going to get you on that point with the sheer HP. Stmn is being very preemptive with the Shelly over here. You could be denied any good matchup. Yes, you are going to be facing that Frank, but you could get sucked in. You could get stunned still. Just have to be mindful of what gadget you're using as well. Are you going to be dashing in and out? Are you going to be making Shelly look like a movement brawler like we saw Guesty do last weekend in EMEA? Next selection, however, how are you going to get your aggression? Because you have the safety, you have the defense. Kenji's going to be getting up in their faces. I think Kenji's a pretty worthy matchup for that Mina, honestly. I think it should go okay. But then now you have your last selection, so how do you end this off? What is your mid of choice?
Yeah, I think with my team, I would go completely something different, right?
Yeah.
But I think Crow's Esports is going to be something super aggro, yeah. The Crow.
Okay, man. All right. Yeah, do your thing.
So yeah, they are gonna just try to put all in, try to put that Frank and Mina on the enemy push. Crow, we just don't let them heal from behind while the other two make space. It's not gonna be what we have normally seen. This matchup is 2v2 on the mid and then some aggro. They don't care about it. They're gonna go full aggro, try to get the kills, and then after that, slowly we will get the percentage.
If this was my match, I would probably go with Stamina's comp here simply because they are so good into everything on the other side, except maybe the Crow. Crow is definitely a good last pick here. I almost saw it on the other side just to prevent any heals, but they don't have heals on Crow's Nest anyway. So let's see how things are going to go down here. First map for Stmn versus Crow's Nest.
It's your best performing North American team at the World Finals last year versus one of the best performing players in North American history. Surrounded by two new players. Just got to try something different. If it ain't working, then you got to move on. So far, Crow's Nest Esports have established some pretty firm control on the point. This Pierce is just not enough to shrug them off, not into the movement that Alianis is using, skating around, dodging the shots, and even gets enough time to cycle out another windmill.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, it seems like Stamina should not have damage, right, to get that all that HP down. But I think because Pain is trying to go from the sides, right? I think we need to help on the mid. That Frank has a bit more range than Kenji and Shelly, so he will have a good matchup, but Juan Carlos needs to stop getting those kills, cycling that super, and getting them low, so them Pain and especially Tacos can finish the kills.
So scrappy so far. Here's a hypercharge out from Alianis. Tacos up to the sky to avoid some damage, only perpetuating the inevitable. He is going to fall in the 1v2, and the lives are being traded back and forth. Juan Carlos now back on the point, and it actually looks like things will settle for a moment in favor of Stmn. The Crow's Nest Esports have an ace up their sleeve. It's Tyrant with a hypercharge, pops the shield first, then dives Juan Carlos, the most vulnerable brawler. Tyrant keeps his distance from Pain with a hypercharge active as well. well. And Tacos gets the kill. Alianis now rushing in. They just have to sit their butts on this point. Can they do it? Alianis survives for only a moment longer. 6% separates them, desperately throwing their bodies at this radius, and it looks like it just might work with a bit more pressure.
Oh, that was crazy. The 99% on the point. Now they cannot let them go. Not even a single second. I don't know if they have the tools. Shelly cannot die. If Shelly die, it's GG's for them. Frank using the hyper chance. Maybe a bit too late. You're gonna die anyway. And it's game insane for Stmn.
That is a ridiculous, what, 40% comeback right there? 99%. That's how close it was. And our expected victors take the lead by just the breadth of a single game, but even still, that was pretty hairy right there. I think Crow's Nest Esports lost focus way too early. They saw that they only needed 10%, and they started feeding, going one by one, staggered respawns. Never is going to work. They need some better team comms.
Yeah, but it's true that Pain and Tacos actually have good matchup if they face 1v1. So if they manage to push them back, so Juan Carlos in the back, just helping with the shot, getting percentage, they will not let the other two come back, right? So if they do a team kill, that's pretty much what we saw right now, that in the previous game happened really late, they can get a lot of percentage back.
Looking at the staggered respawns once more, it's just Zemp, and this time he's actually going on the retreat. Might be rewarded with the kill on Tacos. No, not even that. The sashimi slash is enough to send him back to respawn, estranged from his team. Alianis will be used to charge Pain super just a little bit more. Pain's a dead man. It's all right. A wasted gadget for Zemp is not really a good look. And that super, that hypercharged one at that, is avoided as well. Juan Carlos, meanwhile, the guy's like taking a shred of damage. He's just sitting on the back lines, shredding his opponents.
I mean, he's living the matchup of his life. I think Crow and Esports have good tools to get the point back, but I feel like they are going too alone this time. If they manage to synergy to jump together, again, another Crow jump alone, if they manage to go 2 or even 3, they can get the point easily back.
Definitely puts an exclamation point on things. This is one of the rare Crow jumps where Tyrant actually did manage to profit from that interaction. Yeah, and he'll be able to cycle that super back in just a second here, but not before feeling the heat of a huge hypercharged Shelly super. Tyrant lives for only a moment longer. Look at all the damage Juan Carlos is churning out. Unlucky that he didn't get any ammo back from that interaction. We'll see a huge also moving back from Crow's Nest Esports. They have to back off this point. Alianis trying to get back home, but takes a bit of damage. That's going to give Stmn utter control over this point and earn them the set.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they are trying to do so many plays by their own, even if they are doing it at the same time. I feel like at the end we could see Mina full missing, hyper super, only also Frank 2 seconds later also missing the super. Like, they are not trying to work together, in my opinion, and that's what they make the loss.
It's hard to be in the lead at first and feel so confident in your matchups and then watch that all stolen away from you. When you're 10% away from victory and you watch yourself pretty much get outplayed, you watch your team comms deteriorate, really gets in your head. And for a team that has not made it to the stage, they've just assembled together. Alianis out of his comfort zone, Zemp playing with a different roster than he's accustomed to. The same goes for Tyrant. It's really difficult to find that comfort. Love the jubilation on Juan Carlos's face. They're all together. I wonder if they're at Roledu's place this time.
Sorry, again?
I wonder if they're at Roledu's place because they like to go to Roledu's apartment to play together.
I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I love to see this Mexican blood, right? Not as much as Brazilian one, but yeah, I think it's really important to have this. I'm not that far, but I'm also close. I'm really also emotional. And I think that also help to get the team together. Also, when you are winning, keep the momentum and keep the win. And when you are low, also help to keep the team up and probably get the comeback.
And I do want to mention once more, Stmn had an incredible postseason run last year, and the international influence this team has taken away from this international stage has definitely made them a lot stronger this year. Not looking good for their opponents so far. Crow's Nest needs to step up their game. I felt like the draft was also a bit one-sided, honestly. But yeah, overall, Crow's Nest, they had some moments. They're playing well. It's just not enough yet to beat Stmn. They need to wake up and do better in set number 2.
Well, I think that's certainly on their minds, right? They want to win here, but just how is this draft going to come together? It's a lot of pressure on Zemp because he is the team drafter. To put the correct brawlers in the hands of Alianis and Tyrant, I'll comment real quickly on Tyrant. He was not the team drafter in all of his years with Tribe Gaming. In fact, his heyday sort of occurred in a period where draft didn't exist in Brawl Stars, but they still managed to extend that into 2022 in the early days of draft being a part of Brawl Stars.
Yeah, but with Crowns, I need to respect that because they went to with an all-in comp, right? not traditional at all, trying to surprise. And I think that they need to do to get to when you are like, once again the underdog, and they almost make it work in the first game. I think they could have if they just could make the team work a bit more together, and I hope we can see that in the next set.
We're now in the draft for Bridge Too Far. Is this actually? I think.
It
You
is.
agree with me? Good. Chuck is namely picked on the left-hand side, immediately picked up, was banned out very often in this Mono3 final so far. And Chuck is usually just a ticking clock. You need to do more damage quicker than the Chuck because he will eventually do damage to your save anyway. You can address him with something like a Cordelius, maybe an Otis, but honestly, I would always just go for triple DPS, and that seems exactly like what Crow's Nest is doing right now with that 8-bit and Amber.
It is interesting also to see Amber picked up so early. I think the Amber here is in a big way just to deal with a potential Charlie to be taken away as a last pick. So now they've secured that for themselves as a last pick if they decide that they want it as a defensive brawler. But 8-bit is going to profit off of getting a super from Chuck pretty easily. It is going to come down to the early game matchup. You have a 1 in 3 chance of selecting the same lane as Chuck, right? But it's probably going to be the middle lane, just judging by instincts here. Now, Ali is going to create the aggression also, so you can't really ignore your own safe and go all in and ignore the Chuck as well. You have to play defense. The longer that you can keep your enemy at their own base, just taking damage from Chuck, unable to move up the field, the better. And it's going to be especially difficult for 8-bit since he has such slow walking speed.
Yeah, I mean, Chuck is something that you need to have into consideration. I don't think it's the best brawler here, but having Chuck open change everything on the route, right? You are forced to pick it, then you are forced to either, as always, there is 2 routes that you can take against the Chuck. Either you pick something that is gonna destroy him, like a Cordelius, like a Charlie, like what else? Like you have a few options, not too many though. You have a few options, like a Spike.
There you go.
And other options you have is just forget about him, go full damage, try to do more damage. But you need to remember that the other 2 teammates of Chuck are gonna stop you, right? You don't care about doing damage anymore. You see the B, you see the Ali. They are not gonna go in the save at all. They are gonna try to kill that Amber and especially that 8-bit.
They're just going to go for kills, letting Chuck do the damage, and Crow's Nest is kind of following the strategy we talked about, Pedro. They want to go full damage. And honestly, in these day and age, I think that's the way to go. Whenever I see a Cordelius or Otis into Chuck, it usually doesn't work out. You want to do more damage quicker, and that's exactly what Crow's Nest will try to do in this set number 2.
Juan Carlos doubles up on the mid lane. He's completely ignored. Crow's Nest Esports are full committing this squad of 3 march in lockstep down the left side. But if there's anyone for the job of defense, it's got to be B. Tapping that auto aim like there's no tomorrow. Meanwhile, Juan Carlos is getting the setup, and he's not even really concerned about going all the way home. Just getting 2 posts down is enough for him. Drops Crow's Nest Esports is safe down to 55%. But now the battle is being brought to Stmn. They'll feel a little bit of Amber's heat before Tacos tries to get this close range victory versus Alianis, which he does, opening the way for Juan Carlos to get a super onto the safe once more, but only after cracking it beyond 50%.
Yeah, I mean, there was a good early strategy, didn't work though, but it's interesting to how to when you see teams that approach the map completely different. Didn't work. I think also B is insane different if you can stack, so I think it's one-sided to Juan Carlos.
Look at the matchup as well. Taco's just 3-shot an 8-bit, and when you see that, you know it's bad business. All on the safe as well, just 100 HP to go, and this is only the inevitable. Juan Carlos is going to be supering up the map unless the deed is done for him already by his teammate. It's game 1 to Stmn, a dominating match so far. Let's start marking up the win streak. That's 3 games in a row with no response in sight.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to also point that Stamina did a few micro mistakes. I could see that Ali missing a jump. Also, Juan Carlos with the Chuck not activating the super at the right time, so you don't hit the 2 shots, you only 1, so they can do even better.
It's a David and a Goliath matchup. You know which one is supposed to win, but there's always a bigger fish. And if Stmn is making mistakes here, what does that spell for a semifinals matchup versus KDS? Should they make it there? Only if Crow's Nest Esports can stop them, will we see a different outcome. It's an early setup on the safe once more, but the damage is being traded out. Who makes it down to that shield first is the question of the day. A little curveball from Zimp definitely helps, but doesn't quite get the Stmn safe down to 75%. So it's a match on the tempo so far. First shield broken open on both sides.
Yeah, I expected the Spike to go more defense this time, to try to go to stop that Chuck, because he would have played the other gadget. The stun one, you destroy him. I think you have time to destroy him, just holding his face and kill him, but he have the cactus, so he cannot really choose to do that. So yeah, he just needs to go aggro. He can't just go aggro.
Zemp is doing his best job. He went ahead and threw that life plant forward. Pain only one little prick of a cactus away, but he's dodged 3 curveballs in a row. It's opened the doors for Juan Carlos to make a beeline straight down the rails to the enemy side, and he has the setup for the double hit. Just wonderful Chuck gameplay from Stmn. They left that Chuck open. They, of course, being Crow's Nest Esports, huge mistake to do so. It's given up set number 2 and put Stmn 2 sets in the lead.
Yeah, that's a 4-0 already. Is that the best monthly finals so far for Stmn?
It must be.
I think they won one quarterfinal last year, if I'm not wrong, but probably was not that big of a difference. So yeah, I mean, it's really good for them to start like this. It's good motivation to also prove yourself that you are capable to do much better. So yeah, it's a really good start for Stamina.
Stmn, they are not going to break that trend of 3 O's today. It looks like it might be a nice, efficient North American monthly finals, even though we want to see more. So what's up, Crow's Nest Esports? Where's our show, huh? I paid good money to be here and witness a monthly final. We want to see beyond set number 3 from either one of the teams here. Stmn have just looked unstoppable. However, Crow's Nest Esports with these drafts just have not been on point. They left that Chuck wide open, and look at the amount of damage it did to the safe. Just seriously, the defense and also the offense, bringing the battle to the enemy side from Tacos over here worked incredibly effectively.
Those were such quick matches, honestly. I blinked and I missed it. 10 kills in total for Tacos. Also, honestly, a shame from the production. Yesterday we had some Doritos here at the desk for the player Doritos in SA. Where are the tacos?
Where are our tacos?
Where's the
Huge
tyrant?
blunder.
Where's the Alianis? Is that a thing? I don't think so.
Good try.
Good question.
Try, ready.
All right, man. Look. We'll ask him in an interview
One
later.
day you're going to be good at that jokes.
Haha, whatever.
We're on bridge too far. It's already 2-0. This is shaping up to be yet another 3-0 coming out of NA. So far, not a lot of talkback from those teams, Pedro.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stamina is just playing better, drafting better synergy. They know the game. Once again, a few small mistakes from them. I expect a lot for Juan Carlos. I'm not going to forgive anything to him this year. So I want him to become the beast that he can become. But he's still not at his peak. We can see some mistakes. So I think they can stop them even harder.
I have to wonder if it's a mindset impacting them, as it's entirely possible that they know that they're supposed to win this, so they're kind of saving their energy for later, especially when they watch themselves win 4 games in a row. They're well on the path to a 6-0 as long as they can get the draft right here on Hard Rock Mine.
Hard Rock Mine is the map where Crow is actually the most picked up brawler. Pretty decent win rate. That has to be Crow's Nest's map, right? That logic works somehow, maybe?
Ooh, not for me. I think better teams and stronger teams in Gen Grab shine even more because it's a game mode that we have played from the past so much that you can
Crow's band.
control.
And
Where are they going to nest now? Oh, what a tragedy.
Yeah, I mean, I think in maps like Gems, it's harder to surprise a bigger opponent.
First pick coming in here on Hard Rock Mine. Looking at the bans so far, actually 3 first pick worthy brawlers banned out by Crow's Nest Esports. Expect nothing less. In an underdog matchup, you have to deprive your opponent of all of the good stuff. Play it safe on the draft, but it still leaves Spike open as a first selection. Completely correct, I think, to select that first because, yes, it is a pretty safe selection, but it's one of the, quote, most winningest selections so far. We reviewed it at the top of the day. It has one of the highest win rates, has one of the highest ban rates as well. I wonder why.
I do wonder. In the Buffy segment, we have 3 brawlers banned out here with Mortis, Ems, and Shelly. Spike is left open, Frank is left open, but Ruffs is actually the better choice here. Has been picked up quite often, does kind of the same as Rico, but can also open up the map. It's just all in all a super solid brawler to throw your little buff towards that mid brawler, make him a little bit more tankier. And talking about mids here, I still think Gus does pretty well in a map like this one. 8-bit does so as well, and Pierce is actually left open.
Yeah, I was going to say that Max is a really good pick, especially seeing how aggro are they trying to go all the time on Stamina, and Max always gives you that aggression that second chances, right? When you miss a hypercharge or when you need to go aggro again, maybe you can have the hypercharge and give and feed a teammate. So Nax is really flex. When you try to go aggro is, for me, the best mid, and probably they were going to go with something even more aggro last pick.
Okay, yeah, because they have the tools to do so. They can empower that last pick. They can also speed it up, get a ton of positioning. Now, thankfully, I don't believe the mid has been selected just yet for Stmn. That is true. They've just gone with the Gus. And I'm looking also at just the interaction between Colonel Ruffs and Spike. I think it could be a little bit rough here because now you're going to be dealing with the sandbags that he'll inevitably put down. And we know it's going to be on a lane. Lily, a final selection from Stmn. Something that you want to reserve for later in the draft because it is pretty clear on how to counter it. Though it's going to be difficult to keep track of Max, who's the ideal gym carrier here. She can dash away. She has all this speed and everything.
Yeah, I think you need now a bit aggro, but also can get used to of that. Lily, I think Sandy or Shade can be really good. Shade is banned, so I think Sandy can be really good. You protect the Max, you feed with Lily, and you can get your team to push up really good, and can be a problem for the Spike lane.
What do you think of Trunk? Could work out super well as well. They're actually not going to go with either of our suggestions. Terra's going to be the last pick. I don't think we've seen that brawler very often. Is going to do well also into Spike and Gus, I feel, with her shadows. But yeah, all in all, once again, I kind of side with Stamina's draft over here. I like the Gus pick. The right-hand side has to be super aggressive. And let's see if this is what saves Crow's Nest here and finally gives us a set 4.
We'll see. I just can't say much confidence is inspired in me by this draft from Crow's Nest Esports because I think that the Stamina draft oozes confidence. They have a very clear directive. Crow's Nest Esports, I love to see a Max, I love to see a Ruffs combo, but Tara is very intent on the brawl being brought to her. We'll see Tacos now come forward just outside of the bushes, exposes his position, means it's easy for Tyrant to start picking up some supercharge. Tyrant, of course, one of his signature brawlers is this Tara, so he'll feel, you know, nice and comfortable on that matchup, but once again, really relies on the battle coming to him.
Yeah, I think it all comes to what Tacos can do right on the map and what Tyrant can do to stop him. Insane spray on the field, not gonna lie, but it's all about what Tacos can do with the super if he can get to the max. I think Tyrant should be a bit more careful with Tacos, right? He's kind of ignore him.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you Lily super a Tara. You're going to get shredded at point blank, and Tara's ready for the double kill. Well, here it comes. Juan Carlos knew to pop the shield. In fact, it looks like he walked up to that position to bait the ability. Now Crow's Nest Esports are on the defensive, and they can't slow down this push. 10 seconds to go. Payne has the super. He's got to move forward now. Got to chuck it over towards Zip, cut them off on the right side. Instead, puts it in the middle, splits the team apart, but no countdown interruption comes true. I think that bait on the Tara super was played really well. I think Crow's Nest Esports were too trigger happy on that. They could have slowed that down a lot more. But I have to wonder about, should that Spike super have come out earlier, blocked off the right side, funneled everyone in?
I mean, I don't know exactly what happened, right? I was talking about something else, and they were pitching the mid that we had, Stamina had the insane lead. I think Juan Carlos needs to be more careful there.
Juan Carlos was getting a bit too big for his britches on that Gus, especially after winning 4 games in a row. They've just dropped their first one. Crow's Nest Esports have the speed, they have the aggression to get into position, but they need this Tara to execute. Of course, the most mechanically skilled, the most storied player on their team, Tyrant, is entrusted with that role and is going to be receiving the speed as well. It's 1 kill onto Payne, but it doesn't quite open the doors for Tyrant to go for it. He knows that he has to pick up these gems, though, so the lead doesn't heavily favor Stmn, not too hard, at least. Now, the Shadow Realm from Tacos, he'll appear on the left side. Zip just takes a lucky guess and gets the kill.
Yeah, I think it's much easier to play the Stamina comp, right? Much more classic. Everyone knows that just lanes, normal lanes. That you have that Lily going over and over, making space so Juan Carlos can get the gems. But as we can see, the Crow's Nest comp is really dangerous when you come to the aggression, right? When you are able to hit 2 or 3 shots together and you are able to have that Tara super, you can completely turn around the game.
Once again, Tyrant just annihilates Lily in close range. Nonetheless, the pressure has been enough to keep Crowsnest Esports from escaping their spawn. It's like I say constantly, the Hard Rock Mine spawn trap is a very real thing. Even Pain has chained together a couple of hypercharged supers, and Taco sits up high to keep everyone back. As the clock ticks down, Stmn find themselves in that desirable position of match point, but it could slip through their fingers. One game is all that separates them from going to set 4.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrant with the Tara is doing a really good job killing the Lily over and over, but it doesn't matter, right? Nowadays, it's everything for the pressure. Lily, if it comes, and maybe put the Tara low enough so he can heal up or even kill him, it's really good for stamina.
It's difficult for Tara to move upwards in these situations. You are a responsive brawler. It's difficult to be proactive. It's something that Tyrant actually really succeeded at in game number 1, where he sat up so high that Stmn kind of felt like they were trapped in spawn. They baited the super. It's whatever. It was a win for Crowsnest Esports in the end. Look at Tacos poking down Crowsnest. Oh my goodness! Tacos! That was filthy right there, picking up the double kill and sitting in the bushes on the right side. Juan Carlos and Pain still remain alive on the left side. Is this spawn trap happening once again? It doesn't look like Pain has the super to make that happen, but at this point, anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean, they have no idea where Tacos is. Tacos right now is hiding in that bush. Okay, he was found. He got found. Yeah, he got, but he's gonna get a kill on anyone that has his super. Yep.
Tacos again with the backstab. A super landed, but he doesn't have the HP to keep this one going. He's gonna go for it now. What are your dodges? Oh my gosh! I mean, it's a trade in the end, but that's ridiculous. This guy was one projectile from max away from being tapped. He dodged 3 entire attacks for the kill. Crowsnest Esports, their confidence has to be in the gutter right now.
Yeah, Stamina just need one more gem to finish the game and the set. Lily put the pressure so they can grab it. They cannot because they are still alive. Tara Super is really dangerous, but we have the spike with everything right now.
Tyrant needs a huge play, but Pain is determined to keep them at bay. One more gem is all they need. It's about to spawn, but it's on the side of Crowsnest Esports. Tacos gets one in the realm, but expires inside of it. It's a countdown interruption. Juan Carlos doesn't really have the positioning to make a solo play, but he does have the hypercharged super. Might just pop it onto Tacos once he has a super ready to move.
Yeah, I mean, Crow's team is able to get enough gems to put this game a bit longer, but I think at some point, yeah, the gem is going to spawn on the bottom. Lily will push at the same time, and they just get the gem.
Tacos has to run away, however. That's one more kill onto Crowsnest Esports. Make it 2. Tacos picks up all the gems. Zemp the lone survivor, but an errant spike is enough to send him packing. The expected victors, these World Finals representatives from North America, will advance to the semifinals.
I mean, really good from them. I'm pretty sure they work a lot on here. They have a plan. They follow the plan. Was really good. Also, we saw Taco shining a lot in set. And yeah, they are really good. They are much better this time. Maybe we can see next time Tyrant. I think his team have a lot of potential, but today was not the day.
We got to touch base with Tyrant earlier. We asked him about what they're looking forward to for the season. He said, we got to take things one step at a time. And it's very clear here, right? Maybe even one set at a time, because they've gotten 3-0'd here. And that's not really a dig. It's just he's playing with a new roster after a couple of years of, I think, underperforming compared to what he desired. And not making a postseason last year definitely hurts. But Alianis, not typically making it that far into a monthly final. I think the same goes for Zemp. He's pretty new to this. Just one match victory is what they want to start off with, but today is not their day.
It was so nice to see what they had to show us. And honestly, I do expect them to be back next